I came back to my family's old farm in Willow Hollow, Tennessee, after 20 years in the Army, boots dusty from deserts half a world away, chasing something I couldn't quite name, not peace exactly, but a chance to rebuild what my dad left behind. The land was quiet, rows of cracked dirt stretching under a sky so big it made my chest ache, a red barn sagging under years of neglect, and a rusted John Deere tractor that hadn't roared since I was a kid. But 3 days after I settled in, trouble found Minute in a war zone, but in the form of Cheryl Hensley, president of the Pine Crest HOA, a woman who carried a clipboard like a loaded rifle and a smile sharp enough to cut glass. It started with a knock, not a friendly tap, but a bang that said she wasn't asking permission to talk. I opened the door, coffee still steaming in my hand, and there she was, mid-50s, hair sprayed into submission, sunglasses perched like a crown, peering into my house like she was appraising it for auction. "You're the new farmer," she said. Not a question, more like an accusation. I leaned against the doorframe. "Name's Tom Ramsey, and this land's been in my family since my granddad's granddad." Her lips twitched, barely a smile. "Cheryl Hensley, Pine Crest HOA. We have standards, visual covenants. That tractor out there? It's unsightly." I almost choked on my coffee. Unsightly? This wasn't her manicured cul-de-sac. This was 50 acres of corn and history, zoned agricultural, free and clear of her beige stucco empire. I told her as much, kept it polite but firm, and watch her march off, heels clicking like a metronome, already plotting her next move. That was the spark. Cheryl didn't like being told no, and I wasn't here to play neighbor. I just wanted to fix the tractor, plant my corn, and honor the dirt my dad poured his life into. But Pine Crest had sprouted up 10 years back, a developer's dream of cookie-cutter houses with HOA-approved mailboxes and newsletters preaching about community harmony. Cheryl was its queen, ruling with typed notices and a drone she flew over my fields, buzzing low enough to rattle the barn windows. One evening, I got a hand-delivered letter-fancy letterhead, bold font claiming my tractor violated setback expectations and neighborhood aesthetics. I laughed, tossed it in the trash, and kept working. Then came the newsletter, a glossy PDF emailed to every Pine Crest resident, featuring a grainy photo of my tractor with the caption, "Newcomers' heavy machinery endangers our children." My buddy Mike, who lived 2 streets over, texted me, "Heads up, Tom. She's got out for you." I wasn't worried, not yet. I had the deeds, the surveys, the permits, all tucked in a fireproof safe, and that land was mine, no HOA strings attached. But Cheryl wasn't playing by rules. She was playing for control. She called code enforcement, who showed up, took one look at my zoning papers, and left with a shrug. She sent more notices, each one more desperate, citing codes that didn't apply. One night, someone, probably one of her loyalists, shucked eggs at my mailbox, yolk dripping down the post like a sad protest. I cleaned it up, didn't say a word, just installed a security camera under the barn's overhang, motion activated, high-res, pointed at the property line. Harvest season hit, and that's when things got ugly. I was up at dawn, the John Deere rumbling like an old friend, cutting through rows of golden corn, each stalk a small victory, a piece of my dad's legacy brought back to life. I was halfway through a row, sweat soaking my shirt, thermos of coffee rattling in the cab, when I saw her, Cheryl, standing on a lawn chair at the edge of her perfect yard, separated by my dad's old cedar fence, phone raised, filming me like I was some criminal. She was in a bright yellow tracksuit, a sun hat big enough to shade a picnic, her little terrier yapping at her feet. I ignored her, kept cutting, but on the next pass, she was screaming, arms flailing, pointing at the dust cloud trailing my tractor. I parked, walked over, rag in hand, and said, "Morning, Cheryl." "Something wrong?" Her face was redder than her lipstick. "This is outrageous, Tom." Your dust is ruining my patio, choking my guests. This is a residential area. I stayed calm, voice low. This is my farm, zoned agricultural. Dust comes with harvest. Always has. She scoffed. We have standards. Children are napping. I'm hosting a book club tonight. I couldn't help I grinned. Your book club will survive, ma'am. That set her off. She stormed off, dog under one arm, muttering about the HOA and consequences. By noon, I got an email subject line, urgent, cease operations. Cheryl demanded I stop farming, claiming my tractor's noise and fumes were a health hazard. I forwarded it to my lawyer, Sarah, a high school friend who'd gone into land use law, then went back to work. The next day, a sign appeared on the HOA's side of the fence. Warning, dangerous machinery. Keep children and pets away. Cheryl's number was printed at the bottom in bold. I snapped a photo, added it to my growing folder labeled HOA Bull, and kept going. But I could feel the pressure building, her desperation growing. She was watching me from her second-floor balcony, arms crossed, eyes like a hawk's. I waved, just to mess with her, and she disappeared behind her curtains. Then came Saturday, the day she snapped. I was out early, checking irrigation lines, when I heard a car engine roaring way too close. I looked up, and there was Cheryl's silver BMW tearing down the gravel easement road that runs alongside my fielder road she thought she owned, but didn't, thanks to a botched HOA permit I'd already dug up at the county clerk's office. My tractor was parked just off the path, blades up, out of the way. She didn't slow down. Her car slammed into the front fender with a crunch that echoed across the field, her horn blaring like she'd meant to do it. She jumped out, phone already to her ear, screaming, "He attacked me. He left this thing in the road to trap me." I walked over slow, heart pounding, but hands steady, and watched her dial 911, spinning a story about how I'd assaulted her with my tractor. Then she grabbed a rock from the ditch and chucked it at the windshield crack, a spiderweb fracture right in the center. I didn't say a word, just glanced at the camera hidden in the fence post, its red light blinking, catching every second. The cops showed up 10 minutes later, led by Deputy Matt Sullivan, a guy I'd known since he coached my nephew's soccer team. Cheryl was in full theater mode, clutching her chest, pointing at the tractor like it was a smoking gun. "He's a menace, officer. He did this on purpose." Matt didn't buy it, not for a second. He walked over, eyes scanning the dented fender, the cracked glass, then looked at me. "You okay, Tom?" I nodded. "Tractor's not." She hit it, then threw the rock. Got all on tape. His eyebrow went up. "Tape." I pointed to the camera. 3 angles time-stamped. Her car, her speed, her rock-throwing tantrum, her 911 call. Matt took the USB drive I handed him, slipped it into his pocket, and turned to Cheryl. She was still yelling, demanding his badge number, a supervisor, the mayor. He just said, "Ma'am, we'll review the footage and get back to you." She froze, mouth open, like she'd just realized she wasn't directing this scene. I went back to harvesting, the tractor's rumble drowning out her sputters. But I knew this wasn't over. Cheryl didn't quit. She doubled down. Sure enough, Monday brought a certified letter from some big-shot law firm, claiming I'd caused her emotional distress and disrupted community integrity. I laughed, handed it to Sarah, who read it with a grin. "She's swinging for the fences, Tom. Emotional distress? She rammed your tractor." We filed a countersuit defamation, harassment, property damage, the works. Sarah dug deeper, found Pine Crest HOA filings, and it was a gold mine. Cheryl had been president for 8 years, past the bylaws' term limits, no elections, just her signing her own reappointments. Worse, she'd funneled thousands in dues to her cousins, landscaping, Campanino receipts, no contracts, just checks with her name on them. I didn't just sit on that. I printed a letter 2 pages, No fluff, just facts. The crash, the vandalism, the fake complaints, the HOA's shady books. I slipped a copy into every Pine Crest mailbox before dawn. 28 houses, my boots quiet on their perfect sidewalks. By noon, their Facebook group was on fire. She paid her cousin how much? I never voted for her. That farmer's just trying to grow corn. Leave him alone. One post from a mom named Lisa hit hard. My daughter loves waving at Tom's tractor. Cheryl's the one scaring us. Cheryl fired back, calling it a smear campaign by a hostile outsider. But the tide was turning. People were done with her. The HOA board called an emergency meeting. Cheryl showed up in a power suit, all polish and fury, ranting about how I'd terrorized their community. I stood up, kept it simple. I came here to farm my dad's land, not to fight. But Cheryl's lied, vandalized my property, and tried to bully me off my own deed. I've got the videos, the permits, the truth. The room went quiet, faces shifting, some guilty, some angry, some just tired. They voted her out that night, 7:15 p.m., her screams echoing from the clubhouse porch. By morning, a moving truck was at her house, not leaving, but unloading, like she was digging in for war. Court came fast. Cheryl's lawyer threw everything defamation, intentional provocation, even claimed I'd doctor the videos. But Sarah laid it out clean. The footage, the zoning laws, the easement permit Cheryl's HOA never legally secured. The judge, a no-nonsense woman with steel gray hair, watched the video of Cheryl's BMW plowing in my tractor, her rock cracking the glass, her voice on the 911 call spinning lies. "Ms. Hensley," she said, voice like a gavel, "you've abused this court's time." She dismissed Cheryl's suit, ordered her to pay for the tractor, my legal fees, and a fine for false reporting. The HOA's books were sent for a county audit. Cheryl left the courtroom, face flushed, slamming the door so hard it rattled. The farm felt lighter after that. The corn was gone. Winter, rice sprouting soft and green. Neighbors started waving again. Lisa's daughter, a kid with pigtails, rode her bike by the gate, grinning. Mike brought over a six-pack, said, "You took down a dragon, man." The new HOA board, led by a quiet guy named Dan, sent an apology letter, promised open budgets, real votes. They even invited me to a potluck. I brought cornbread, still warm from the oven, and when I set it down, the room clapped. Lisa's kid high-fived me. Call me tractor guy. I left early, found a note in my screen door. "Thanks for fighting for us all." No name, just heart. But here's the thing: Cheryl's gone. Her house sold, her Lexus a memory. Yet I keep thinking, what if I hadn't had cameras or deeds or a lawyer like Sarah? What happens to the next guy, the one without a folder labeled HOA Bull? Standing your ground isn't just about land. It's about who gets to tell your story. I fought with truth, with roots, with a stubborn tractor that wouldn't quit. And maybe that's why, as I sit on my porch, watching the rye sway under an indigo sky, I feel something close to peace, not the soft kind, but the kind you earn, the kind that holds when the next storm comes. What do you think? Ever dealt with someone like Cheryl, trying to control what's not theirs? Drop a comment. Share your story. I am reading everyone.